Thank you, Dick. I'm Paul Salem, the president of MEI. It's hard to go after Dick Clark, but I will make an attempt. It's really a great pleasure and a thrill to see so many of you here, so many walks of life, from Washington, from the United States, and from around the world. It's your participation and your support, as Dick said, that makes our work possible. And it's working together with you that we can fulfill MEI's mission of bringing the people of the Middle East and the people of the United States closer together. MEI has come a very long way in 73 years, but this year is a pivotal year that should help set up MEI for the decades to come. It was the vision of our former president, current President Emeritus, Wendy Chamberlain. Wendy, would you please stand up? It was the vision of Ambassador Chamberlain and the leadership of our board and our chairman, Dick Clark, and the efforts of the entire MEI team that allowed us to move into a fully renovated headquarters on N Street and to relaunch MEI as really a premier integrated think tank on the Middle East. And by integrated, I mean it integrates the arts, culture, education, as well as policy, to provide a richer and fuller understanding of our very treasured but very troubled region. Our Vice President, Kate Seelye, will brief us more fully in a moment about the Arts and Culture program, which is engaging with artists and audiences in powerful and novel ways. But let me tell you about our Education Center, which has benefited from the new state-of-the-art classrooms in our new building, to increase its student body and offer more courses in Arabic, in Farsi, in Hebrew, in Turkish, in Kurdish, and other languages of the region, as well as courses on regional studies, offering these courses to professionals, government officials, business people, students who are moving out into the region. Our Oman library, as Dick mentioned, has weathered 2 years of reconstruction in our building, but is set to fully open and welcome scholars and students in the 2 months ahead. And our Middle East Journal remains a flagship publication in high demand throughout the international academic community. So it's no coincidence that MEI is listed as www.mei.edu, not .org. Our policy under the stewardship of Ambassador Jerry Firestein is rising to a preeminent position in Washington, D.C. and around the world. Our scholars and programs on Turkey, on Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, the Gulf, the Levant, Israel, Palestine, Egypt, and North Africa continue to produce timely and impactful analysis and policy recommendations on pressing issues, as does our program on counterterrorism and countering violent extremism, and on defense and security cooperation. We are proud to see our scholars frequently briefing on the Hill, engaging with decision makers throughout the administration, appearing on national news networks, and providing a steady stream of analysis that helps set the policy discourse in Washington and to some degree in other capitals around the world. Our program On Track to Dialogue that Dick mentioned, led by Dr. Andeslim, engages with partners and adversaries in the Middle East and Russia to look for ways to de-escalate conflict, to build cooperation and confidence, and to dream of peace. Recently, we've added new programs on cybersecurity, as Dick mentioned, and I must say Dick has been and continues to spearhead that effort. We have launched as well as a valuable program examining the relations between the Middle East and its northern tier neighbors from Eastern Europe through the Caucasus and Central Asia, relationships of trade, of security, of diplomacy, of culture, a program we call Frontier Europe, and that is to launch next Monday. So every week we have new things happening. And we are exploring new programs in future studies of the Middle East, and we have a number of futurists with us here today to look at the next 20 and 30 years in the Middle East. What are the scenarios? What are the dynamics? What are the drivers? And what are the keys to creating a better future for the region? We have a program on climate change and water resources and aridity that Dick mentioned that we're trying to launch in a very major way. Climate change already impacts the Middle East in very serious ways and is going to be more impactful in the years ahead. We are also launching focus programs on Morocco, on Palestine, on Lebanon, working with communities, governments, and groups in those developing regions. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to keep up with, both in the turbulent Middle East, as well as in the turbulent politics and policy environment of Washington, D.C. And as we enter an election year, we are launching a program of policy briefs and direct engagements with presidential campaigns throughout the political spectrum. But this evening is a night to come together, to commemorate, and to dedicate ourselves to the long road ahead. It is also an evening to celebrate the achievements and contributions of exceptional individuals. From Morocco, Mr. Uthman and Layla Ben Jalloun and their wonderful daughter Dunya, filmmaker. Mr. Uthman and Mrs. Layla have pioneered innovations and investments in education throughout Morocco and sub-Saharan Africa. And I had the joy and pleasure to visit them in Casablanca and visit one of their amazing schools where they were teaching 6- and 7-year-olds. I saw a class in Arabic, a class in French, a class in Amazigh, the native language of the Berber people, and a class in Mandarin, all going on together, as well as a class in robotics. This was really an exceptional thing to see. And from my beloved Lebanon, which today has risen up in popular protest for good government, for social justice, and for national unity, we are joined by Ms. Nadine Lebaki. I know you all know of Nadine Lebaki, and I know many of you have seen her films, and many of you have seen Capernaum, which was nominated for an Academy Award. It is truly one of the most moving and powerful movies I've ever seen. And for that, thank you, Nadine, for what you do. Thank you very much. In closing, I thank you all again for your participation and for your continued support. We will continue to grow MEI to meet the challenges ahead, and with your help, we'll continue to pursue the vision of MEI's mission at its founding by George Camp Kaiser, and his wonderful daughter Ann Kaiser is with us today. His vision to found MEI 73 years ago to build better understanding between the people of the Middle East and the United States, and to work for a better future of peace, of prosperity, and of good governance. And now I have the pleasure of handing it over to my colleague, Vice President Kate Seelye of Arts and Culture, who, with the help of Lynn Snage, brought MEI's artistic vision into fruition. Kate?
Thank you, Paul, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is a special night for so many reasons. We have the privilege to honor many exceptional individuals tonight who've done so much for others, children in particular. The Ben Jallouns and Nadine Lebaki have flown a long way to grace us with their presence, so please join me in thanking them once again. Tonight is special because we have a terrific turnout, so many people joining us to celebrate with our honorees. And it's special also because we have more artists and supporters of the arts in our midst than is usual for an MEI gala. We have 2 filmmakers, Nadine Lebaki and Dunya Ben Jalloun, the daughter of Layla and Uthman. Lebanese artist Katja Trabulsi is also here with us from Beirut. Her series of sculptures, replicas of Lebanese Civil War bombshells, now beautifully ornamented, grace our gallery and speak to the power of art to transcend violence and destruction. As they can attest, the artists in this room, artists in the Middle East serve as the conscience of their societies. They often express what others dare not. Through their films, their poetry, their theater, their novels, they challenge the red lines, they tackle the taboos, they give voice to the voiceless, as Nadine does so beautifully in her film Capernaum. And in the process, their art and their courage help empower communities. They are change agents in a region protesting for change. Now, with the MEI Art Gallery, we have an opportunity to engage with the region's artists and changemakers in a sustained way. We have an invaluable platform for dialogue, a gallery embedded in a think tank, supplemented by panel talks, film screenings, musical programs, and more. It's the first thing that guests encounter when they walk into MEI, the art gallery. It allows us to connect the arts to the policy conversation here in Washington, D.C., and in the process, it helps us to deepen American understanding of the Middle East and to strengthen our ties, the ties between the two regions, because art and culture truly are bridge builders. And as we suspected, there is a lot of interest here in Washington in this kind of high-quality, socially engaged art and programming. The Washington Post has written not one, but 2 articles on the gallery, including a big spread in last Friday's weekend section. That's a lot of eyeballs. That's in addition to 25 other articles written on the gallery and a TV segment on PBS. And that's not to mention the more than 2,000 people who've come through the gallery to enjoy the art. The gallery is allowing MEI to connect with far broader communities than ever before. Communities who aren't necessarily into policy, but who can connect with us around the universal language of art, and through the arts come to see a much more human side of the region and hopefully develop an interest in it. The gallery is open weekdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. on the first Fridays of every month, when you can come and have a glass of wine with me and Lynn and our guests. We'll be programming 4 to 5 shows a year, working with guest curators. Our current shows, the bombs you've seen, it's actually called Perpetual Identities, and Arabissi Aruba, our inaugural show, are up until November 22nd. And then on December 5th, we're opening with what I believe may be the very first group show of contemporary Kurdish art ever mounted in the United States. It'll feature 9 artists, several of them women from Syria, Iraq, and Turkey, and they address the Kurdish experience in very powerful and meaningful ways, and it's a very timely show. After that, we're planning a show of Yemeni artists. We hope to feature Maghrebi art, Palestinian art, and so much more. So please stop by and spread the word. Also, consider becoming a member of our gallery, or better yet, join our exclusive donor circle, and you'll have the privilege to join Lynn Snej, the director of our Arts and Culture Center, and myself on a tailored trip to Art Dubai. But for now, put Thursday, December 5th in your calendar, and we look forward to seeing you at our next art opening. Thank you.